Hey everyone, welcome to episode 53 of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. As always, I am your hostess with the mostest, Nathaniel Rumblejans, joined by Mr. Eric Moore.
Hello.
There's literally no one else today. I am sick, so you hear raspiness in my voice or see me chugging on the water. Whatever happens, we're going to push through.
Yeah.
I promise you guys, come hell or high water. We might have less videos this past week, but podcast ain't going anywhere. So, we only have 3 topics, kind of a shortened podcast, because I'm sick. It is what it is.
I'm not feeling the greatest either, so.
But they're 3 really big topics.
Yeah.
Because there really wasn't a lot of huge Nintendo news this week.
Right.
So it's kind of more general gaming, besides the first topic. This first topic, the 3 topics we're basically talking about are, one, we're going to be talking about the struggle of making YouTube content as a Nintendo creator, because that seems to be a recent topic that blew up on one particular YouTuber's thing, and then on Reddit. Then the second topic deals with the sad reality of a school shooting and a certain governor blaming it on video games. So we'll get into that. And then the last topic deals with the loot box situation and some ESRB responses to a certain senator sending them a letter about loot boxes. So because infamously, ESRB was like, loot boxes, they're not gambling. Because they're voluntary. Anyways, guess what? Gambling's voluntary. I don't know if it's a new thing. Gambling itself is completely 100% voluntary. So, anyways, let's just get into it. So topic 1. I struggle making Nintendo content on YouTube. No, this isn't me coming out and being like, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of proof that you don't have to struggle making Nintendo content. Now, that doesn't mean like I'm sitting here making mad bank. But if my channel was as big as some of the other channels that complain about it, I have to wonder if they've done their research.
Yeah.
Now, I've talked in the past about how being a Nintendo creator on YouTube is more difficult than being other types of video game creators, because pretty much not none, but very few of the big video game companies come after you when you put up gameplay footage, and stuff like that. But Nintendo does, and they copyright claim your videos. I have not had a video copyright claimed by Nintendo besides live streams, which obviously have unedited game audio and stuff in them, in a long time. Because ever since I joined my multi-channel network, BBTV, they taught me that you can work around Nintendo's claiming system. And you do that by not including cutscenes, getting rid of any audio from the game. And that does suck, especially when you're trying to review a game.
For sure.
Like, it's kind of hard to review a game and not have game audio. But thankfully, reviews of video games aren't a huge thing on my channel yet.
Right.
So it doesn't affect me much overall. And like the last game I did was Tiny Metal, which was a indie game, so there was no issue with that. Indie devs almost never claim your videos. So there is that. And then there's the Creators Program. This actually stirred up a little something last year, because Nintendo announced that if you are a 100% full participant in the Creators Program, like every video you make goes through the Creators Program, you cannot live stream video games. They even state on their website, if you would like to live stream video games, make a new YouTube account. Really weird. And that caused some controversy with our channel, where I thought for a while we weren't going to be able to do it because we use the Creators Program. But that's not the case. So what the Creators Program does is it's Nintendo allowing you then to use the footage and use game audio and all this stuff, have your cutscenes in there. And Nintendo's still going to copyright claim your video, but you file it through their Creators Program, you get a cut. It's like a 60-40 cut, or if you're fully invested, it's a 70-30 cut, where you get either the 60% or the 70%. They get the 30 or 40, and this is after Google's cut. And you get here where that does not sound very good. It's even worse than my MCN. BBTV takes 20% of everything I make.
Yeah.
Now, in return for that, I have been seeing ads that are more lucrative. I've also gotten some guidance and some help on my channel, access to some sound files, and various stuff they've done for me. At the end of my year with them, I'll decide if I want to continue it. But I will say that it was obviously a nice help for me at the point that I was.
No, for sure.
I mean, my channel started really taking off once I became a partner. So there is that. They have helped with that. But when you talk about Nintendo, the problem, there's a few problems. Like the one YouTuber went off on it, talked about how he had like almost 800,000 or 1 million views that were Nintendo
Over
stuff,
1 million,
and he only made 90 cents off the creators program. And that's not correct. I mean, I'm not saying he's lying.
Right.
He only got 90 cents, but it's because he didn't use the creators program the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
When you join the creators program and Nintendo claims your video, that doesn't put it in the creators program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Unless your entire channel is in the program, where that means every video you upload, Nintendo claims.
Yeah.
And that's not the way his channel is. So what happens is, when you use the creators program, you have to go in and submit individual videos. Then there's an approval process. Once it gets through that approval process, all the views from that point moving forward, you get the revenue share. So my guess is that he did not do that.
Right.
Because if he did, sorry, you would have got way more than 90 cents off 1 million views.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that because I've gotten over $100 paychecks from Nintendo for way less views than that on Nintendo Creator Program videos.
Yeah.
Now, there are issues. Number one, like my MCN, they take 20%, but I get to track how much money I'm making every single day.
Mm-hmm.
In the Creators Program, there's no way to know what you're making. You have no idea at all. So you could have a video blow up to 500,000 views that you put through the Creators Program, and then you look at previous videos that you've had blow up like that, and you're like, okay, so it should be making about this minus 30% to Nintendo.
Yeah.
This, you can kind of get a rough estimate. It's never exactly that way. Some videos have higher CPM, but at least you have an idea. But with Nintendo, they don't tell you at all until you get paid, and then when you get paid, there's no
breakdown.
No, there's no breakdown. There's no report. They literally just send you an email. Hey, we sent you a payment.
Yeah. So how do you really know you're getting 60% or 70%? Or
there's no way for you to know.
Exactly.
You can't know.
They can be completely hosing you over.
Yeah, that's the problem that I have with the Creators Program. It's the lack of reporting features.
Yeah.
There's like almost no transparency here.
Again, it sounds like something that Nintendo just kind of rushed out and has no good explanation for, and people are sitting there going, what are we supposed to do? And Nintendo's like, I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah.
Kind of like everything they've been doing lately.
Yeah, it's just it makes it difficult to be a Nintendo creator, because you figure the Creators Program should be a way to encourage more creators, even though it works like an MCN.
Yeah.
But it's not, but it is. It's weird. So it's kind of like, look, if you're going to be an MCN, just become an MCN. Mm-hmm. And allow people to join you. And yes, you get 30% of everything they make, but in return, they can use whatever footage they want in any way they want. I feel like that's probably, I don't know if I'd say a fair trade-off, because other companies just let you do it without being part of a network thing, but whatever. Yeah. At least then you get something, 30% cut, it is what it is. But that's just not the way it is, because you have all this manual approval process and all this stuff. Whereas like my MCN, it's like, nah, dude, like you make what you make off normal YouTube ads, and then we take 20% because the money gets sent to them first, and then back to me, and then they actually fight to get better ads on my stuff.
Right,
because it helps them. They make more. The more money I make, the more money they make.
Right, exactly.
So it's a mutual beneficial partnership.
For sure.
Whereas I'm not going to hire a team to hunt out and get me the best ads possible or whatever.
Right.
I'm a one-man show for the most part besides this podcast. So,
right.
So for any person out there thinking to be a Nintendo YouTuber, there's a few things you have to consider. If you want to be a Let's Player, you can do it. Just do it for the love of it. Yeah. Don't ever plan to make a living. Nintendo's never going to let you do it.
Yeah.
Even if you go through the Creators Program, you're going to get screwed. So just don't. I'm not saying don't be a Let's Player. I'm saying don't do it planning to
solely
make money off
Nintendo either.
If you want to do it as a side project, as a hobby, for passion, that's great. You really shouldn't be making YouTube content if you're not passionate about it.
Right.
It can't be just about money. You guys might hear me talk about revenue sometimes in live streams or whatever, but I don't just do what I do for money.
Right.
I do what I do because I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have videos get copyright. Like as an example, the entire month of January, every single video I made, not live stream, just normal standalone video, at one point was quote unquote YouTube demonetized. It was put into the yellow thing where their bot automatically flagged every video I put up. It didn't stop me from making videos, even though I wasn't making money off them. Yeah. Because there's other reasons to do it. One, you're passionate about it. Two, you're driving subscribers and views.
Right.
And three, you can't just make videos just for money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reality. Even when you work a sales job, not everything you do in that sales job needs to be about every action has to make money along the way. No, because some of these actions can, also lead to money down the line too.
Yeah.
As an example, driving more viewers, more subscribers can lead to more money later. So you can even view it in that way if you want, but you just need to be passionate about what you're doing. In the month of January, I was carried by our live streams.
Yeah.
This month, I don't want to say I'm being carried by our live streams. They have been a major contributing factor to our revenue. But our ad revenue has also bounced back a little bit. Not back to where it was.
Yeah.
But it's February.
Right.
Not like holiday season when everyone's buying ads up. So
wait. You're saying Valentine's Day isn't a big holiday that people buy ads?
Not big enough. Not big enough. I mean, there's only so much
Sad
of those
day.
1-800-FLOWER or whatever
that's
places out there, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any of those ads on ours, by the way. Come on. You thinking there's no love in the air here at Nintendo Prime? Come on.
Prime things happen here.
Prime things are always happening. So, if you are out there trying to become a Nintendo content creator on YouTube, you are going to have to work within these known restrictions. If you want to expand your channel and maybe make a little money on the side. If you don't care about about money, do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
Nintendo does not usually copyright strike takedown videos. I've literally uploaded direct trailers of theirs in the past. Never got a copyright strike.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll copyright strike the video, but not my channel. That's the channel strikes you want to watch out for. Those are the ones that get you in big trouble with YouTube.
Yeah.
And you do take a risk of that. Anytime you upload something that's copyrighted, they could copyright strike your channel.
Right.
Like, because I have trailers of Nintendo games on my channel, Nintendo could be like, no, we're striking you.
Right.
But they haven't done it to me. So I doubt they're going to do it to you. But it is hard.
Just know it is a risk.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to know as a Nintendo content creator, like, a lot of what any sort of content creator, passion is a big part of it. You can't, and this is what that one YouTuber made that said that I agreed with, was that, you have to do this because you love to do it, not just for money. If you can make enough money to survive off it, awesome. But they can't. Every video you make can't always be afraid that you're going to get demonetized.
Yeah.
And this is true even when you deal with YouTube, because YouTube's a whole nother layer. With Adpocalypse 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 now.
Yeah.
I don't know how many .0s we're on at this point.
Yeah, right. As long as we're not on Tosh.0.
God, jeez. Oh, no.
Oh, nope, sorry, I just got this copyright claimed. My bad.
No, just saying that I don't think that's it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, like I said, I'm not struggling per se in terms of Nintendo. Ever since I joined the MCN, it's been a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you guys to join an MCN.
Right.
I don't even know if it was a good idea. I won't know until I'm done with my first, because I'm under contract for a year. But what I do know is you just have to keep these things in mind, and it's really not that bad. It gets harder the more gameplay footage you put in, the harder and harder it is to avoid the automatic flagging by Nintendo. But you guys have seen me. I've had voiceover over gameplay videos, and they weren't getting flagged by Nintendo. As long as you keep in the no cutscenes and the no game audio, you'll pretty much be okay. No trailers, by the way. No trailer footage. That's the big one. If you use any footage from a trailer, no matter what you do, distort it, flip it, do whatever you want, you're just going to get claimed.
Yeah.
I don't know how they find it. I don't know how their automatic bots sniff it out, but they always do. But yeah, that's kind of the key. And yeah, I guess understand what you want to be as a creator. If you want to be someone who does walkthroughs, well, okay, you do it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Or just do it for Nintendo indie games, because they don't give a crap about those.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Do you have any thoughts on all of this?
Be prepared to do your research.
Yeah.
It's really...
I mean, it sucks. I'm not saying what Nintendo is doing here is okay.
Right. No,
but it's like we can't do anything about it. It's their legal right. So
oh, yeah, no.
This is how we work around it here.
But at the same point in time, where does fair use come into play and everything else like that? Where you should be able to use footage from stuff.
It's never gone high enough in the courts for us to know.
Right. You should be able to use footage from gameplay and stuff like that if you're not, like, saying this is your,
Yeah, and Let's Plays themselves is a legal gray area, by the way.
Yeah.
And if that's original enough to be fair use.
No, your commentary is...
Yeah, but
original.
people are coming to watch the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you don't have your favorite Let's Players, guys. I'm not talking about Let's Players.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of like, that, to me, would be a tough ground to stand on.
Yeah.
at first. I think a legal case would need to be one over like the fact that if I review a game, that gets claimed by Nintendo.
Yeah.
No, that shouldn't be. Why would a game review be claimed?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And I have to be like, oh, I want to review Kirby Star Allies coming out. Yeah, but Nintendo's going to claim the crap out of that video.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. Or I can just do Payday 2 and they leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because, again, Nintendo's like one of the main developers that does this.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo, Konami, I can't remember, and one other company. Nintendo's the biggest of all of them that does it. But, like, EA doesn't touch you. Ubisoft doesn't touch you. As an example, my Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle video has Mario in it.
Yeah.
Wasn't touched by Nintendo. Because Ubisoft is in charge of copyright claims on it.
Right.
Ubisoft doesn't copyright claim YouTubers.
Nice.
So it's like, give me a 2, 3, 4, 5 in that. Nintendo ain't touching me there.
Right.
But yeah, it's rough going, and Nintendo makes it a lot harder than it needs to be. But I don't know what we can do about it. And to me, it does suck. The live streaming thing sucks for people who are fully vested in, because it's like Nintendo is like, thanks for putting your entire channel in our program.
Right.
Now we're going to F you over.
Yeah, right.
Have a good day.
Here, just bend over this table and bite on this rod here.
Oh, our suggestion, just make a new channel. Yeah, because all my followers are at the new channel.
Right,
yeah. It's like, if you had been dumb enough to submit your entire channel into the program, man, did they screw you over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, and like the lack of reporting data, that's just
right.
Nintendo.
No, it seems
we are 2018. It's inexcusable. If you are going to do revenue share, you need to tell us what the revenue is.
Right. No, for sure. You don't mess with people and their money.
And especially when you're like, oh, you gave me $100. Okay, cool. So that's 70% of something. But what something? Where'd it come from?
Yeah, right.
What videos were it? What videos performed well? What videos didn't?
Right.
So I know what videos to put in your program and what videos not to.
Right.
You don't want to give me that information, even though it makes you more money. I don't get it.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, plus, and how do I know that you're giving me 70% of what I made?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, my MCN, there's multiple ways to track. They still let you track through normal means, through YouTube.
Yep.
Then they have their own, like, 2 little back-end things I can track as well.
Yep.
So I can kind of run the numbers by each other and make sure they line up close enough. Usually within a couple bucks.
Right.
So I'm not getting screwed when they give me the monthly report.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if they're off by a couple bucks, it's not terrible. You start looking into a couple hundred, then
The YouTube stuff's always estimates, anyways.
Right.
I mean, it is what you made, but you know there could have been some little glitches, off here or there.
Yeah.
So I usually don't, for those people who only make $20, a couple bucks might be a big deal, but
right. Yeah.
You probably won't be off by a couple bucks. You'd be off by a few cents.
Right. Exactly.
So
you're gonna be off by like your 1, maybe 2%.
Yeah. So I guess that does it for that. Don't really have much else to say beyond that. Just some misinformation out there.
I just wish Nintendo would make it clearer than mud.
I wish they would just encourage people to do this stuff.
No, there's that too.
Because it's free advertising for them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What we do at Nintendo Prime, 100% advertising for Nintendo.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, they don't pay me to do this. I'm doing this because I love to do it.
Right.
So why should they be punishing me for helping them sell games?
Because every once in a while say a bad word about them.
I'm sorry.
Wait.
We want you to be better.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, not sorry?
Yeah.
Anyways. The second topic, this one's crazy.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so it's going to get a little serious for a moment because obviously we know, at least at the time that we're recording this, I hope there's not another school shooting between the time we recorded this when it comes out. Because I think there's been, a bunch of school shootings this year. Not necessarily as big as this.
Right.
But, like, people have brandished guns at schools. So there was that school shooting that, at least at the time of recording this, I think 18 people were dead in Florida.
At least, yep.
Just terrible. Terrible stuff. I don't think anyone out there with a brain can be happy about this. And obviously there's been a lot of back and forth about what's to blame and how should we react and how do we try to prevent this in the future. Just like there is after everything, after the Sandy Hook incident.
Yep.
When we grew up, it was the Columbine.
Yep.
And back then, this topic was huge.
Oh, for sure.
Because we have somebody in government, a decently high-up person, blaming video games again. And this happened way back in Columbine.
Yep.
And it seems to come up during every single mass shooting. But
Well, at least mass shooting that involves
Kids. Yeah. Because apparently kids are more susceptible to certain things, admittedly. As they're growing up and they're going through teenage years. I remember.
Yeah.
I was more susceptible back then than I am today. Like today, there's some things some things that people say to me today. Back when I was a teenager, I would have been panicking.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, you're just an idiot on the internet.
Right.
So here's how the story goes. So in the wake of the shooting that left at least, I'm going to update, it's 18 dead on Wednesday in a high school outside Boca Raton, Florida, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin, who's a Republican, by the way. I don't know if that matters to you guys, but he focused on violent video games as part of the culture of death that is being celebrated, leading to these kinds of incidents.
Yep. And I'm gonna just correct you on that. It's Boca Raton.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, jeez. You want to read the quotes here? Save my voice a little.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. There are video games that, yes, are listed for mature audiences, but kids play them and everybody knows it. And there's nothing to prevent a child from playing them, Bevin said in an interview with on Woz. Leland Conway show Thursday morning. They celebrate the slaughtering of people. There are games that literally replicate and give people the ability to score points for doing the very same thing that these students are doing instead of schools, where you get extra points for finishing someone off who's laying there begging for their life. These are quote-unquote video games, and they're forced down our throats under the guise of protected speech, Conway continued, seemingly referring to the 2011 Supreme Court decision that prevents content-based restrictions on games. It's garbage. It's the same as pornography. They have desensitized people to the value of human life, to the dignity of women, to the dignity of human decency. We're reaping what we've sown here. When Conway asked if Bevin was interested in a ban on these types of games or merely more parental oversight of children's access, Bevin asked for media producers to take some responsibility for their works. I think we need to start by having an honest question about what value of these things add. He said, Why do we need a video game, for example, that encourages people to kill people? Whether it's lyrics, whether it's TV shows, whether it's movies, I'm asking producers of these products, these video games and these movies, ask yourselves what redemptive value, other than shock value, or other than hope you'll make a couple quick bucks off of it, at what price? At what price?
All right. This isn't obviously the first time this has happened. Several times.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure.
Video games, and now, he also broadens it at the end to movies and general entertainment.
Yes.
Trying to draw a correlation to pornography, desensitizing us to women, I suppose, even though, as a man, pornography also kind of sucks because it makes us just seem like all we care about is sex.
Right.
And I'm not saying we don't do a pretty dang good job of making that feel like that's all we care about, especially as teenagers, when we're like in our sexual prime. But it's still one of those things that's not what men are all about. Men aren't all pigs, but porn can make it seem like we are. So I'm not trying to say it's more derogatory towards like men than women in that case, but it's one of those things where it kind of hits both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And when you talk about video games in this way and compare it to that, it just, what about all the countries that don't have these mass shootings but have the exact same video games we do?
Yeah.
That have like television, like news channels with women who are naked presenting the weather.
Yeah.
That don't have these issues.
Yeah.
You kind of get to the point where, yes, we have obviously an issue with shootings in America.
Yeah.
That's massively worse than any other country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the things that he's talking about exist elsewhere, and they don't have these issues.
Right.
I think the problem with this conversation is it ignores that there's a societal problem. And I think he's trying to say the societal problem is that we're being desensitized. But I don't know that desensitization's really it. Like, look at the way that he describes things. Like, you get extra points for finishing off someone who's lying there begging for their life. What game have you played where someone's lying there begging you not to shoot them?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there are, but I don't know about extra points for it.
This goes back to the Grand Theft Auto. Oh, you get extra points for hitting people with your car. It's like, okay.
Okay.
The video game.
Right.
Like, Have you seen an increase in people driving around with their car just tagging people?
Actually, yeah. But
No. Actually, violence is down
yeah. Well,
over the past 15 years.
well,
That's the thing. Like,
well, it's all
the shooting, the school shootings are up. Obviously,
well,
the school shootings are up
for sure.
Overall, violence has been on the decline. It's one of those things that I'm not going to say that there's no merit to desensitization, but I think that the people that it might desensitize, I don't think it would have mattered either way.
Right,
That's
exactly.
kind of what I'm saying.
Yep, no, for sure.
Like people that are be like, oh man, like I'm gonna go on a mass school shooting, or I'm thinking about killing someone. A video game isn't going to tell them if they are okay with that or not.
Right, no.
Like, you're not killing real people. And the thing is, there's a huge difference between killing a person in a video game and killing a real person.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because the obviously, virtual versus reality.
Right.
You know, if I'm like, this is Eric, and I squeeze him to death, that's a lot different than if I actually take Eric here and squeeze him to death. Not only is it a lot harder to do, it's just a lot different mentality that you go into for this. You know, when I look at stuff like this, it's almost. I mean, this is how it goes with politics too. People cherry pick the facts they want. Like, there's lots of like reports and research that say video games violence and like violence and video games are connected. And then there's lots of reports that say not really.
Yeah.
And the thing is that because it's not a definitive thing, I don't think that video games and movies and all this stuff are really why this stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just people that obviously are with the mental issues they have that make them want to do this kind of stuff tend to be into this kind of thing.
Right. No, that's just it.
But that's not that thing's fault. Because think of, you know, when you talk about all these school shootings, I'm like, how many people buy Call of Duty every year?
Right.
Then look at how many school shootings there are.
Right.
I'm sorry. The number of people that this doesn't affect massively outweighs the number of people that it, quote unquote, is affecting. And the thing is, the people that are affecting were already messed up anyways.
Yeah.
And in terms of the, you know, I love his, you know, everybody, like, there are video games that, yes, are listed as mature, but kids play them. Everybody knows it, and there's nothing to prevent a child from playing them. Same thing, kids drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Kids smoke.
Yeah.
We have laws, and, like if you're going to say the ESRB or whatever is incapable of keeping stuff out of kids' hands, so is the government with their laws on smoking and alcohol.
No.
It is not successfully keeping it out of kids' hands.
Yeah.
Drugs. How's the fighting against drugs going?
Yeah.
I don't know about your guys' area, but meth is like taking over Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. Western Wisconsin for sure. At least our area.
It's bad. I'm hoping to steer my kids away from it.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't want them to get into that life. But it's one of those realities where there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
If someone really wants to do something, they're going to do it. As an example, in this case, if they made stricter gun laws, you can get guns illegally pretty easily in a lot of areas. Without, you know, everyone talks about like this shooter got the gun legally. That's true. And there's a whole breakdown there and a whole other conversation. Yeah. But at some point, you can't blame what we consume. When do we start taking personal responsibility for our actions versus trying to find something else to point fingers at?
Yeah.
Think about, you know, what other countries that have this media and these video games and pornography and all this stuff, why they don't have the issues that we do. Because it's completely societal.
Yeah.
We have a culture in the United States, in my opinion anyways, where we value certain things that we shouldn't, and we value things to a lesser degree that we need to value more. As an example, I've argued this, and I'm going to keep arguing it because my mother was a social worker.
Yeah.
My fiance technically is a social worker. She's becoming a CNA now.
Right.
I've done social work before. I've been around a lot of mentally ill people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depression. We've talked a lot about depression in the past.
Yep.
And depression can lead to some of these shootings.
Yeah.
And what I have noticed in all of my years being around my mom, who's you know, did it for like 30 plus years, and my own experience, my sister does it now at LSS, is that they are massively underfunded.
Oh, yeah.
They're constantly understaffed.
Mm-hmm.
The programs are always getting cut.
Yep.
The first budget cuts to happen every single year to social programs.
Yep.
And these social programs are what help help for the people that need it.
Yep.
They're the ones that help diagnose this stuff at young ages.
Yep.
It's really, really difficult to me to take this kind of stuff seriously about blaming video games or blaming media when we're not willing to look in the mirror and blame ourselves.
Yeah.
As an example, how do you help kids not get into drugs, help them not get into alcohol and smoking and violent video games before they're old enough? That's all on the parents.
Yeah.
I tried to sip a beer when I was like 8.
Yep.
My dad handed me, hey, you want to try it? I thought it was disgusting.
Yeah, right.
Never touched alcohol again until I was 21.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's going to work with everyone.
Right.
Some kids are going to be smart asses and be like, I loved it. Give me more.
Actually, my cousin you had to kind of watch your beer bottles around her because she would just come up and just...
Which cousin was that?
Oh, Allie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. But it's one of those things where... as I said, obviously what my dad did there isn't going to work for everyone, and there was other things too. You know what? Like my parents saying, like, hey, you could end up not being able to play sports the rest of your high school career.
Yeah.
Look what happened to this one guy who got caught at a party at your school, and now he can't play sports his whole senior year.
Yep.
And like I started valuing a lot of things over trying alcohol or over smoking or over whatever that other people were doing, and I feel like that's what's missing in here is one, parental responsibility to our children. And I know sometimes it's hard. I'm a parent of 3. It is so hard.
Sometimes some of these people don't have parents.
That's true.
And that's the one part about it, too, is that the parents that they're in aren't around, or they're working so many jobs that they aren't around.
Well, and you think about this. Like, America leads the world in so many categories, like divorce rate.
Yeah.
Split homes.
Adoptions. Everything's disposable nowadays.
Yeah.
We're a culture of disposal.
Yeah, in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like the larger issues are. And no, these issues aren't going to go away because we fought to have the rights for divorce and the rights for all this stuff. So, like, this stuff isn't going to go away, but what we can do is try our best to, especially with mental health, try our best to catch this stuff. As an example, I feel like mental health programs at this point should be so well funded to the point that every child is required to have a mental health checkup every year until they're 18. If you have to have a regular doctor checkup every year, why can't there be a mental health visit in there?
Yeah, no.
If they have a dentist once a year, why can't there be a mental health checkup?
Yeah, no, that's...
because it's not funded enough to do it.
No, for sure.
And it needs to be required by law, or no one's going to do it.
Right.
Because it's going to cost you extra money in your insurance.
If it's required by law.
Well, if it's required by law, then your insurance would have to cover it.
Right.
That's kind of that gets in the little issue with insurance companies. Because if it's optional, insurance ain't going to pay for it.
That's a whole other issue with insurance.
Just like insurance might not pay for your dental because it's optional.
Not really.
You don't have to go to the dentist.
Yeah, BS. Okay. But
you don't. It's not a requirement to live. Required to have a nice bright white smile and no cavities.
Yeah, except for the fact that they've proven some different correlations between actual having decent oral health and
you don't want the gnarled teeth with the
no. I'm not saying you have to have
with the black tusk growing out of them.
I'm not saying you have to have nasty looking teeth. That's not the point. But they've actually there's been studies that have shown that actual decent oral health leads to happier people, leads to this, leads to that.
Well, it's just like anything. Health at all. Period. Like, I'm fat. If I was in shape and feeling awesome, I'd have more energy every day. I would feel better about myself. I might potentially live longer. I know that's always estimates. It's just percentages.
Right.
I can end up living just like if you keep smoking, you're gonna die, sooner than later, and then you end up living to 105. Like, my doctor told me to stop eating bacon 60 years ago. Like, and I eat it every day.
Yeah,
it's it's just percentages. No one knows when you're going to die.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, the healthier you do, whether it's oral, whether it's mental. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, no,
here,
for sure.
Or physical. Like, we're talking about mental health here that needs to be treated as seriously as we treat physical health. We always have our kids have to go in, I guess these days people fight back against vaccinations and stuff. But regular checkups, you want to play sports, you need a physical to play a sport.
Yeah.
Like, we have all these requirements to do things. Why don't we have requirements for mental health checks? And I understand it can be hard for parents to admit to themselves there's something wrong with their kid.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I might have to admit with Aiden.
Yeah.
They're potentially my middle child. I don't know what he's got certain tics that kind of check some boxes that maybe he might. I don't know if he's autistic or what. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. There might not be.
Right.
But it's just like but I'm aware of that.
Yes.
And if I get a mental health check and they find out something, they do a brain scan or they find out something, okay. Like, I'm not going to be afraid of what that means.
Right.
Because I've also been around.
It can also help you help him.
Exactly. Like when his behavior issue today, when he chucked all that crap at Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And cost me an extra $45 by destroying the salad bar. It's like,
yeah.
Why? What did I do that made him want to do that?
Right.
Because he's never done that before. So it's one of those things that, like, what did I do that tricked him to want to act out like this?
Yeah.
And it's just a difficult thing for parents to ever admit to themselves. That's why I think we need the mandatory mental health checks, because parents aren't going to admit it to themselves.
Right.
And they need to be held accountable if parents skip those health checks.
Right. And the thing is, too, is that parents out there, these games do have ratings on them.
For a reason.
Yes. They do mean something.
It's just like put it this way. Are you cool with your 12-year-old watching porn?
Yeah.
I'm just asking you. Are you cool with it?
Yeah.
But you're cool with them doing headshots in Call of Duty?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In the case of how you equate it, I agree with that equation. That's something for adults.
Yeah.
Porn is to be enjoyed by adults.
In that retrospect, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously I'm talking about a 12-year-old, but I mean, obviously when I was a young lad, young teenager, there was some porn and some violent video games.
Yeah.
But the thing is raising your children to understand this stuff before they're exposed to it.
Right.
And the thing is, they're going to get exposed at certain times without you knowing.
Right.
But you can still control, how they react to that kind of stuff,
Right. You should there should be able to be teaching moments.
Yeah.
Of you sitting down with them while you're playing the game and going, this is just a game.
Yeah.
This is not real life. This is not how we treat people. This is a game.
Yeah. And it's
teach
kind of like, okay, so I used to, using the porn example, easiest thing I could draw up, watching porn when I was like 15 or 16.
Oh, right.
I touched my first boob when I was like 16.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, porn did desensitize me to the moment.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I thought I was doing something wrong. It felt wrong to be doing that. I felt like I was violating them. Yeah. And according to this person, because I watched porn,
yep,
I can't feel that way. I'm desensitized.
Right.
And I know that maybe I'm the exception, but I'm sorry. In that moment, I thought I was going to be okay with it because of the porn, but I wasn't.
Right.
Because my parents raised me in a certain way with respect.
Right, no, for sure.
Respect for women. Yep. They knew I watched porn, but respect women.
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
They're not objects.
Right.
You don't just get to do what you want to them. Blah, blah,
right,
blah,
no,
blah,
exactly.
Blah, blah. And a lot of parents, I think, avoid these conversations. I can't tell you how many. When I used to work at after-school care, there would always be things that would come up during school, and kids would ask me at Stilson about certain situations, and my boss is like, you can't really say anything. Then parents come to me and said, so my child told me, said, why didn't you say anything to us? I'm like, I was told I'm not supposed to stay out of it. And these are like conversations about like, what is sex? Or like, someone grabbed my private part. What do I do about it? It's like, I'm being told to be hands off, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
As a parent, my child tells me something to that, you don't just, like if my daughter, she's going to be 8 this year, she's like, where do babies come from? I'm not going to lie to her about it.
Right.
I'm going to explain
to her.
I'm going to explain to her exactly how it happens, and explain to her. Do you see how upset mom and dad get sometimes? Now imagine that you're thinking of doing this kind of thing in school, and you have a kid.
Yeah,
like that's how my parents scared the hell out of me from having children.
Oh, for sure.
I did not have sex until I was 21 because I was scared to death of having a baby.
Yeah,
and I had plenty of opportunities, but I'm just like, no, I can't. And again, this comes down to parenting. And obviously, the kind of parenting techniques my parents worked with me aren't going to work with everyone. You got to explore with your children.
Right,
and learn as you
for
go.
For sure.
But
and again, there are people out there, there are kids out there that, again, don't have parents, that have parents that are there, but aren't there because they're trying to support their family. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. And then you have the ones that are there, but are whacked out on drugs or other things and other stuff like that, that don't get the attention that they need.
Exactly.
And
this is why I like the mandatory health checks. And I don't know how they could enforce it without it feeling like a police state.
Right.
Because if you don't show up, what are they going to do? Fine you, but if you're a druggie, you're not going to get a fine anyways. Right. And what are they going to do? Show up at your house? Now you could argue if you missed like 2 in a row that they should send someone to knock on the door, and if there's suspicion of drugs or whatever, then you need to enter the premises and get the kid.
Right.
Because just in general, like any kid that's raised by parents who do drugs, I feel like there's a failure in the system to not get that kid away from those parents.
Right.
And because the parents aren't going to do it,
Right. Well, yeah.
So, that somewhere along the line, the system has to recognize that there's something up with this kid. What's going on? Is it home? We got to figure this out. And I understand, like, I don't want a police state for this stuff, but there needs to be. I don't think it's bad to have a social worker come knock on your door and ask you, hey, how come you missed the last 2 mandatory checkups?
Mm-hmm.
They're not coming into your home. You don't even have to answer.
Yeah.
They're not going to come in, or police aren't going to open the door if there's not suspicion of something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have nothing to hide, then what's the matter? You can just say you just literally forgot.
Yeah.
And cool, and they'll schedule for one that next week or whatever.
Right.
But they're not going to because it's so underfunded.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We'd rather fund our military.
I was planning on, and that's holy.
Yeah.
That's
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm
that's-
just saying that, like, think of where we put a lot of our money at times. It's like, but why aren't we focused on our own country?
Right.
And, like, actually improving from within.
Right.
Instead of letting us kind of destroy ourselves, which is kind of what's happening.
In a way that's kind of, the whole military spending. Don't get me wrong. I love our military.
Sure.
I appreciate
and
everything
there's parts
they do.
of it that are underfunded, and I understand that.
Right.
And salaries.
Parts.
Salaries are
yeah.
really
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
But
No, for sure. But the fact that we stick so much money into killing people, the hypocrisy a little bit there is, it's I don't know how to explain it. And I'm not calling out military. I love our military members. I respect everything that they do. But the fact that we spend all this money on inventing ways to kill people,
well,
it's adding to the problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand some of the investment in that stuff a little bit, because if we don't do it, someone else is going to do it, and they might use it against us, and we won't know how to stop it because we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand some of the research, but there's a difference between the research of the technology and then building it for actual use.
Right.
And the thing is I don't really I don't want to get too deep into the military, because some of the stuff they do is great, some of the stuff they do isn't so great.
Yeah.
But it's all about where we as a country are budgeting our money.
Yes.
I don't care that we have a huge chunk of it going to the military, but then we also have a huge chunk of it going to other things. Like, why is education getting cut? Why why are we cutting things that deteriorate our society,
right,
instead of funding society? Why are we still paying insane college tuitions?
Yep.
Why, like, all these things are adding up to, we are creating our own problems. These school shootings, we're undereducated.
Yep. That's another big thing too.
We're underfunded in the inner cities.
Yep.
We don't have metal detectors and security guards in every public school, because some schools can't afford it.
Right. When
that should be completely funded by the state. It should be a mandatory requirement.
Right.
Especially now that this happened in Florida. Guess what? Starting next week, every single high school, middle school, whatever in Florida should have metal detectors and security guards.
Yeah.
Paid by the state.
Right.
But
and
it's not going to happen.
The crazy ironic thing about this too is that city was actually just voted as the safest in Florida. That's the crazy part of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, and completely sad.
Well, that's the thing. That just goes to show it can happen anywhere.
It could happen anywhere, yeah.
I mean, it could happen here.
Yeah, for sure.
We haven't had it happen yet, but it's going someday.
Do you know how many bomb threats we had?
Yeah, but it's threats.
No, I know.
I know.
But when I was
even
in
now,
school,
it still happens. There was already 3 of them this year.
Yeah.
3 of them this year.
I don't know. It's
I get emails about it now because my kids are in the system.
Right. No, for sure.
So it's like nothing's actually ever happened here, but I always know in the back of my mind, someday.
Right.
Someday it's not just going to be a threat.
Oh, no, for sure. And,
another
point.
I don't see how video games are a problem.
No, I don't either.
We just went through rattled off a whole bunch of things that are wrong in American society that are way more vitally important to this than video games and movies.
And another thing, too, is
these are like an escape from some of the crappy stuff.
Oh, no, for sure. And one other point that I want to make is some of these kids, with things being underfunded in certain areas, all these kids know is violence. Gang-related stuff.
Gang violence is bad.
You look at all the underfunding in a lot of these places, that's all they know. They don't know any better. They don't know any different. It's gang life or no life.
Yeah.
It
kill it or be killed.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the way it's especially in a lot of cities.
Yeah.
It's starting to be killed or be killed. unless you happen to live in the upper rich part of town.
Yeah.
And guess why? You know why they're not touched? Because they have lots of money and they have security that prevent the gang stuff from getting into their neighborhoods. It's just, we need to do a better job protecting our children at schools. I think all public schools need to be funded to have metal detectors and security guards.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't care. Every entrance needs to be protected, period.
Yep.
I'm not saying that, I know that might sound police state, but until we can come up with a better societal solution, I'd rather police state that crap up than have another one of these happen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And by the way, those security guards should be allowed to be armed.
Well, yeah. Well,
because obviously they're not going to do any good if the guy walks up to the door with an AR-15 and they don't have anything.
Well, right.
He's just going to shoot him and go into the school.
Right.
So, that's another thing. I'm not one of those people that say we need to arm all of our teachers and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
No.
I know that there are certain schools that have done that and haven't had any issues, but they might not have had any issues.
They might not have had any issues before that, too. Yeah,
so it's kind of one of those things, like, I'm not saying...
It doesn't prove anything.
Yes,
it doesn't
in this
disprove
situation,
anything.
like, say as an example, if that gym teacher who got shot, if he had a gun on him, he might have been able to shoot him instead. But here's the thing. You're
also asking a civilian
without
a whole lot of training
that's
to take
the deal.
life.
They're supposed to be under training. That was the idea. The idea was if they armed every teacher, they would be trained.
Right, but at the same point in time...
But here's the thing. If you're willing to invest in that, then why wouldn't you invest in proper security people who do this for a living, basically police officers at this point, and then actual metal detectors versus arming teachers who might not readily even have the weapon on them.
Right.
Right,
no, for sure.
In an emergency situation, because they'd have to have rules about that. It'd have to be locked away in a certain way that students couldn't touch the firearms.
Yep.
So, like, at that point, you might not even be able to get to it because anyone who's going to plan a shooting is going to map it out and figure out where all that crap is.
Right.
Even no matter how much you think it's hidden, this is 2018. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
They can figure crap out if they want to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm not even saying that's the solution. It's just something we need to do to try our best to limit the mass shootings. I don't think we can ever get rid of shootings entirely, even if there's an outright ban on guns.
Right.
I don't think it's possible to get rid of it entirely. But we can limit it in some ways. And I just think when you have people like this governor of Kentucky come out and start pointing the finger at video games again and media, I think it just misses the bigger point.
Right.
And I'm not saying it has anything to do with them being a Republican.
Right, no.
Because I've heard this argument from Democrats a lot, too.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're always looking to point fingers because we don't want to blame ourselves for letting this happen as a society.
Right.
But honestly, if my kids go off and do something, the first finger I'm pointing at is me.
Yeah.
I am the primary reason that my kid went off and did something stupid. This is why parents kick themselves when their kids get into drugs. Because guess what? It's your fault. It is.
Depending.
It pretty much is your fault. There would have to be a pretty extreme situation where someone held down your child and forced the drugs down their throat for it not to be your fault.
Right.
Because I'm not saying that kids don't have free will and everything, but if you raised your kid in the right way, they would have never made that choice on their own. Now, you could argue that maybe they got depressed, and there's certain things like that.
Right.
But again, good parenting. Hopefully you recognize some signs. I know it can be hard. Trust me, you can hide crap from your parents, but the fact that I've been through it, like me as a parent, no, my kids ain't going to get away with being depressed. I'm going to know.
Yeah.
Because my kids aren't going to get mental health checks.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve everything, but it helps.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, why aren't we looking into real, because all the argument's going to be now is video games are the issue, media is the issue, guns should be banned, guns shouldn't be banned, we should arm everyone, we should disarm everyone. Like, instead of us being like, how about let's deal with the core issue? We have a mental health crisis in the U.S., and we're ignoring it because we don't want to pay to fix it.
Right.
Or pay to monitor it even, because you can't really fix it. People are born the way they're born.
Right.
But we can at least try to help. And like the people that are born into the crappy drug situations, we should discover them sooner.
Yeah.
And make sure they get into good families and get into good programs to make sure that they don't have drugs running through their system and make sure they're not addicted, because that's another thing that happens with kids is even if they're not doing the drugs themselves, if they're around it, they inhale enough of the shit. Yeah. And it's kind of in their system all the time. And then they end up being addicted, or they're born addicted.
Or they're born addicted, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we need to look at in society. As an example, my future sister-in-law, when she had her third kid, that kid should have been taken away right away.
Yeah.
It's being adopted now, and it's like it should have been adopted then.
Yeah.
She has proven that she can't stay out of drugs and can't take care of stuff. She has no place of her own.
Yeah.
At the time, she had no car, she had no job, so why is she allowed to have her kid?
Yeah.
Kid should have never been able to leave the hospital. Instead, that kid was submitted to being around meth, to being around marijuana. And the thing is, I'm not here to argue whether marijuana is cool or not.
Yeah.
It's that it's never cool to do it in front of a kid. It's not cool to smoke a cigarette in front of a kid.
No.
Especially a baby, a newborn.
Right.
So, anyways, that's just kind of my take on things.
Yeah.
I think that we are driving the conversation, I think, in a better place than the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And, God, that makes me sad. When you hear politicians talk about this stuff, like, it's obvious you have an agenda.
Oh, right.
Like, shouldn't the agenda be priority one? Let's help our people.
Right.
But that involves government spending money on things that help people.
Right.
Instead of just pointing fingers. Oh, it's not our fault. It's their fault.
Yeah. Right.
It's their fault.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to our last topic.
Last topic.
This one's not as serious. Still important to video gamers.
Right.
Of course. Right. So Senator Maggie Hassan sent a letter to the ESRB about loot boxes.
Ooh, loot boxes.
And they said this: while there is a robust debate over whether loot boxes should be considered gambling, the fact that they are both expensive habits and use similar psychological principles suggests loot boxes should be treated with extra scrutiny. Mm-hmm. At minimum, the rating system should denote when loot boxes are utilized in physical copies of electronic games. To that end, I respectfully urge ESRB to review the completeness of the board's ratings, process, and policies as they relate to loot boxes, and to take into account the political harm these types of microtransactions may have on children. I also urge them to examine whether the design and marketing approach to loot boxes in games geared towards children is being conducted in an ethical and transparent way that adequately protects the developing minds of young children from predatory practices. Further, I urge ESRB to consider working with the relevant stakeholders, including parents, to collect and publish data on how developers are using loot boxes, how widespread their use is, and how much money players spend on them. Finally, I ask that you develop best practices for developers, such as ethical design, tools for parents to disable these mechanisms, or making them less essential to core gameplay. And the ESRB responded. You want to take that one for me?
Oh, good gosh. Why you do this to me?
Well, because my throat hurts.
I know, but I can't read.
Just from the quoted part forward.
What? Oh, from the update?
Right.
Yeah. We received Senator Han's letter and appreciate her confidence in support of the ESRB rating system. For more than 2 decades, we have earned the trust of parents around the country by helping them make informed decisions about the games their children play.
This is so ironic.
I know, right? As the industry evolves, so does our rating system, and we will continue to make enhancements to ensure parents continue to be well informed. We will also continue to provide information about additional tools, including parental control guides, that help parents set spending and time limits and block potentially inappropriate games based on the ESRB assigning their age rating. Assigned age rating, sorry. The Entertainment Software Association, an industry trade group, was also not immediately available to comment.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, it's like previously, the part that we didn't get to quick was that before the ESRB called it a voluntary feature that lets the gamer make the decision to enhance their in-game experience. That was the ESRB's official response to loot boxes before, when they said they weren't going to make any changes to the rating system. So we know that Senator in Hawaii and a bunch of states are getting together to try to be like, look, there's something wrong with loot boxes. After the Battlefront 2 stuff, there's something wrong. And we're not saying that you can't have loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want children using loot boxes.
Right.
Because it's kind of a gambling mechanism.
Right.
And the ESRB's response is that it's not gambling. It's a voluntary feature. So, said this before, I'll say it again.
To a certain extent, they're right.
But gambling is voluntary on itself.
Yes and no.
Well, when you first go to the casino, if you've never played even a phone app or anything, you don't know what you're getting into.
Right.
You just know I go put money in something and maybe get money back.
Right.
And then you get kind of hooked sometimes,
right,
depending on how they're hooking you.
Right.
Or you just get discouraged because you lose all your money right when you're like, I'm never coming again.
Right.
Or rip off casinos.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, I always say, like, my fiance sometimes go to casinos. It's one of those things that go to it for the getaway factor.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting away from life. It's just you and some spinning wheels and maybe
Flashing lights
maybe a friend or whatever, and maybe you're seeing a show or a concert,
Yeah.
and having like you're going out. It's like going out on the town for a couple $100, going out to bars and doing whatever. Except you're going to a casino, and every once in a while you come away with more money than you went with.
Right.
As long as you view it as that and you do it once in a while, I don't think there's anything wrong with gambling.
Right.
And people do it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can afford to do it, good for them.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're talking about loot boxes. I mean, I don't know how you could disassociate it from gambling in the first place.
Right. No,
The only difference is you don't get monetary value back.
Right. Well,
You spend money to get loot boxes to get in-game items. You don't get money back.
Right.
So you're never going to make your money back.
Right.
Although then again, there's like the CS:GO and the skins, and I don't want to get into that. That's even worse. Like that, the fact that that's not being looked at, that bothers me a lot. Valve should be ashamed to let that marketplace even happen.
Yeah.
People are just being CS:GO skins need to go away, especially after the CS:GO Lotto incident. Just
Yeah.
a bunch of BS. Anyways, I kind of just view this as it feels weird because I just went against the governor, but now I'm kind of on the senator's side.
Yeah.
Because it's weird because a lot of the arguments like for loot boxes is, hey, when you buy a pack of cards, that's a loot box. You don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And you might buy more packs until you get what you want.
Right.
I did it with Pokemon when I was a kid. So, like, I get it.
Right.
But at the same point, that's something physical. That's something tangible.
Right.
That's something I can turn around and sell.
Right.
That's something I can get some of my value back on.
Right.
Whereas in-game, I buy Battlefront 2, I can get value back on that physical copy of Battlefront 2, but any of that in-game stuff I bought, there's no value back on it. It's all, I guess you say the value back on it, is your enjoyment of the game or whatever. And the thing is, I don't think there's a problem with loot boxes being in games, although some of them, like in Battlefront 2, kind of push it too far.
Right.
It's one of those that parents do need to be made aware.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they can't just say there's loot boxes in this game, because parents aren't going to know what that is.
Right. No, for sure.
You need to say that there are gambling mechanics in this game that encourage users to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be listed on the box somewhere.
Right.
Next to the rating or whatever.
Yep.
And that's assuming, even though we just said the Senator says ratings don't work. I don't know. I haven't done the research to know if they work or not.
Yeah.
I know that kids at the dang, when I used to work at Stilson, were playing Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
But that's, again, on the parents.
Yeah.
And the reason they're playing it is because their parents play it. So it's kind of like, it is what it is. It's like a lot of the games I played growing up because my dad played it.
Yep.
Again, on the parents. You can't take all parenting away from people. But, yeah, she makes a lot of good points. Parents need to be informed that this stuff exists in the games.
Oh, for sure.
The only thing I disagree is that she says on physical copies. I think digital copies too.
On all copies, yeah. That's when you when I said that.
I think she was trying to disclude phone games because loot boxes are very prevalent in phone games.
Right.
But I think even in phone apps, it should be stated on the download.
Oh, for
page.
sure, for sure.
It should be like
it
should be like warning. This game.
It does.
Does it? For sure.
This game involves in-game purchases.
Yeah, but that doesn't specify loot boxes. That could be microtransactions. There is a difference.
No, I know.
Huge difference.
But
I mean, they're both a form of microtransaction, but loot boxes is actual gambling.
Right.
Whereas microtransactions are you get what you pay for.
Right. True.
And how the loot boxes usually work is exactly how it works in Tap Sports Baseball.
Yeah.
We bring this up a lot, and there's some people who notice, hey, we got our annual mention of Tap Sports Baseball.
Yeah.
Because Tap Sports Baseball fits so many of the things that people hate in the industry.
For sure.
You buy virtual currency to buy a draft pick that gives you a randomized player. That's exactly what a loot box is.
And those randomized players sometimes feel way underrated than what they should be.
Yeah, but whatever. That's personal opinions.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things where they encourage it. And obviously they give you enough currency to get them free sometimes.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. But it's still a loot box. And it's not something I'd want my children to play.
Right.
Like, I don't want my kids playing Tap Sports Baseball. I just don't. There's other baseball apps they can play that don't do this.
Yeah. They can play it just if they can block. Yeah, as long as you can block the purchasing.
Anytime you buy your kid a video game console, the very first thing you should do is go in that console and disable purchases.
Right.
Then they can't make a purchase.
Right.
And if they want to work around it, good luck. Because if you use all the proper parental blocks. But here's the thing, parents don't know this stuff's happening.
Right.
So kids take their credit cards and
Yep.
put them in and jacking up prices. And this is where we hear the horror stories of the thousands of dollars spent.
Yep.
Like if you're an adult and you blow your life savings on loot boxes, that's your problem. I mean, it is.
Yes.
At that point, you should know what you're doing. Here's the thing. If we start education now, maybe not the current adults, but the new kids growing up are going to know, at least.
Right.
Or at least hopefully.
Yeah.
Again, the problem is that we can't take away parenting in the equation.
All right. No,
I think
for sure.
too often people want to take parents out of it. And in this case, I think it's just lack of awareness for parents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If I said loot boxes to a parent, they have no idea what I'm talking about. To a gamer, they know.
Yeah.
But if it's a parent who doesn't game, whose kids game, they have no idea what a loot box is.
Right.
So, like, what would you do to solve this? Like, how would you handle the limiting or the informing of loot boxes? Or would you just, like, ban them and not even allow them in games?
Loot boxes themselves... Yeah, I don't know why... I mean, I can understand microtransactions because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
There's
it's just
no,
like buying a game. You're
right.
paying something to get what you expect in return.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the loot boxes is there is a risk to not getting anywhere near the quote unquote value that you put in.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I've fallen victim to, God, this next time I'm gonna get it. So
that's how
while
they
playing
get you.
Tab Sports Baseball.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. So, and if it's gone, oh shit, $60 later. Oops. Yeah, I still didn't get that. Yeah. Oops. But yeah, see, and that's the thing right there. It's highly addictive, and
it's gambling. I
right,
mean,
right.
I don't think either one of us are denying that it is gambling.
Right. No, for sure.
For something virtual,
right,
it's still gambling.
Right.
You're paying something, hoping to get something in return.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't get it, they kind of make you feel like you're going to get it the next time.
Right.
The next time. And the next time. They tease you. And sometimes you do.
Right. No.
Just like
for
when I go to the casino. Sometimes I come ahead.
Uh-huh.
I think last time I went to the casino, I came up $250.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
But they tease you enough when you're losing to make you think it's going to happen all the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
loot boxes, I don't see a point to.
Okay.
I would get rid of loot boxes, microtransactions, because you know what you're getting.
Sure.
You can consciously make the decision to pay for that. Whereas these loot boxes, you start getting into the addictiveness of gambling.
So then I toss this at you. So how would you deal with collecting cards?
What do you mean?
Well, do you get rid of card packs and just buy individual cards? Like if you're getting into Pokemon, instead of buying Pokemon card packs, you just buy individual cards.
See, the thing is, though,
because I mean,
right.
It's kind of, sort of
it
relatable.
It is and it's not.
I know it's not because of the physical nature, but it is because you're buying something, hoping to get stuff you want, and you might not get anything. You might get junk.
Right.
And that makes you want to buy more packs and more packs and more packs.
Right.
Know, we spent hundreds of dollars on stuff.
I know. But the thing is that we actually had to have the money physically there. Nowadays, you just need a credit card.
Yeah, I know. Well,
and
you could use credit cards back then too if you
could.
Your parents.
But back then, if you went to the store and you had a credit card when you were like 10 years old, that's gonna raise some red flags back then.
Some stores that don't have cameras wouldn't say a thing.
Yeah.
Back then, it was a lot easier to do that. I could have probably bought booze at 10 years old.
Well, right, but
okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
know the right people, go to the right places.
Right. But no, like packs of cards and stuff like that. I think it's different. I really do.
Why do you think it's different?
I honestly,
I'm actually curious because you think it's okay for children to buy packs of cards where they're hoping to get stuff, maybe their favorite players, maybe their favorite Pokemon, and they don't get it, and so that encourages them to keep buying more of them.
Well, okay, fine. Most of my okayness is assuming that they're with an adult. But
how many times were we not with adults when we did that?
Right.
So.
And again, it comes down to how much money does this kid actually have.
So
They're not spending their parents, they don't have access to their credit card.
So
shouldn't.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: kids shouldn't have access to the credit card. Let's eliminate the credit card from the equation. Kids shouldn't have access to that regardless. If they find it, that's parents' fault.
Right.
Okay. So eliminating that, so their only way to buy stuff, even on a phone, is through money they have. Right? Like they are 12 and maybe their parents let them have a check card for their bank.
Yeah.
So then they can spend the money they actually have in their bank.
Well, that's just irresponsible.
I had a check card when I was 12.
Yeah.
Of course, I've never had money in my bank since I was 12. So.
You're right.
But that's
exactly.
not why. That's not why, though.
Yeah.
That's not, I actually had more money in my bank when I was 12.
Yeah.
It's because I had no bills.
Yeah, right.
Life was so easy as a kid.
Right.
Just go to a movie, buy some card packs.
Yeah, right.
Working since I was 15.
Right.
Had more money than I knew what to do with.
Right.
More money than God. That's what it felt like.
Yes.
To
me, it just feels like, one, there's less access to. I mean, it feels like these loot boxes are everywhere.
Sure.
Card packs are
at your Walmart, at your Walgreens, are everywhere. GameStop, they're literally everywhere.
Shut up.
You don't have to go far to find a card pack.
I don't know. I guess I've just been out of the game in a while. But to me, it feels more like the card packs. It feels like there's more of a limited amount of money.
Explain.
Like, again, it's more to do with, again, the credit card versus cash. Because a kid...
But kid's not going to have a credit card either way.
A kid with cash is going to have less access to buy how many hundreds of packs versus a kid with that is on a phone or on a game console with a credit card attached to it that they don't know that they're actually spending money.
Well, their credit card shouldn't be attached.
Well,
they shouldn't have a credit card.
Well, no. Their parents' credit card.
But if they're using their own device, then they shouldn't have to worry about that.
Well, right. They shouldn't have a credit card.
I'm just saying, like, it feels like, to me, it feels like you're trying to justify card packs because kids are limited by the cash they have on hand.
Right.
But that to me is kind of irrelevant. They're still buying something that's going to encourage them to go get more cash on hand. Going to encourage them to go into their parents' purses and take money out to buy. I mean, you can't tell me when we were kids,
we
didn't get what we want. We would bust our butt mowing lawns or shoveling or doing whatever so we can have more money to come back the next day and buy more card packs.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like, we did that as a kid. Like, we literally were doing loot boxes before loot boxes were a thing.
Yeah.
As kids.
Yeah.
So now it's just become this virtual thing. And I'm not trying to sit here and be like, there isn't a difference, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, because you said loot boxes should just not exist.
Right.
And I want to agree with you. But then that means I have to agree that it shouldn't exist at all. Then it can't be cards, can't be anything, trading card game that we used to buy playing Game Boy. What if they had they had random packs in that? Granted, they were free at the time. You didn't have to pay for them.
Yeah.
When you had the random packs in that game. But
right.
Whatever. It wouldn't be that way today. A game like that would never come out. Right. So it's one of those things where, like even in Hearthstone, right? Hearthstone is a game where you play, a card game online against people. It's completely free, but you buy your packs. And you buy packs of cards, and you get randomized cards just like you would in real life. It's just like playing in real life, except it's easier to find people to play with online, basically.
Right.
And Pokemon does this a little bit where like you could scan your cards and use them online and play against people. But, it's one of those things to me where I don't think loot boxes need to be gone. And maybe this is just because I do enjoy gambling.
Right.
I don't think it's wrong to enjoy buying loot boxes.
Okay.
It's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay. Right.
I think it's wrong to introduce children to enjoying loot boxes.
Okay. Yes, I can.
At an age before they can understand.
I can get that. Yep.
And I feel like that's where the senator's sitting. The senator's not saying don't have loot boxes.
Yeah.
The senator's saying we need to not expose children to loot boxes.
Right. There should be no
just like
reason
children
why.
Should not be. Well,
there should be no reason why a children's game needs to have loot boxes and or microtransactions.
One thing about it, children, aren't really even exposed to gambling. The closest they get, is basically walking through a casino.
Yeah.
To go to the buffet, or like if you're in, Vegas, you see it everywhere, but you don't actually play it yourself.
Right.
So you might be impressed by all the fancy lights, but you don't really get it. You just think it looks pretty.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, I went to Vegas when I was younger with my parents, and it didn't make me want to gamble more.
Right.
And if you think about it, like arcade games basically are the exact same thing. You're gambling with money to win something, whether it's tickets to buy something or whether it's that item in there. I mean, that's how arcade games work, and we consider that acceptable. So it's kind of like, where do we start drawing the lines? Like, are arcade games and Pokemon cards okay?
I
but then,
think
like,
it's a lot of
in-game purchases are not okay.
I think, again, it's more of a physical, tangible thing
that's worth less than what you pay for.
I know, but the whole physicality, if it feels like you actually got something for your money. I know.
So bad.
I know. I'm not saying. I'm just
waiting for the boxing gloves to get out.
Yeah.
One of these days, you're gonna lift up your hand and be like, "What? I have the boxing gloves."
Yeah, right.
Wearing
yeah.
like the green little one.
Yeah.
Ready to beat.
Yeah, except for the green screen.
So what? Make sure it's dark green. It shows up as gray then.
Yeah.
My Packer hat, I noticed on the green screen earlier that it shows up. It doesn't actually vanish. It shows up as gray.
Nice.
So I'm like, so I can wear my Packer stuff.
Sweet.
Sometimes.
But I'm just saying what it feels like.
Sure.
Where the difference is that you're actually getting something tangible.
But I can argue that when I get that 5-star on Taps Force Baseball, that 5-star platinum, that I feel way more proud of that than when I got a Charizard as a kid. I'm just saying.
Oh, right.
Like, I got it. If it wasn't better, it was a very similar feeling.
Right.
So why should I not be allowed to have that feeling?
You're also an adult, so you can't have that feeling.
Okay. What if I was a kid? Because I got to remember, we grew up in an age where, what the heck's a touchscreen?
Yeah, right.
So we're growing up in an age now where we only had tangible things.
Right.
Everything's now digital and virtual.
Right.
So, we can't just be old kooks and be like, it's okay because it's physical and not because it's digital when they're growing up where everything is digital.
No,
Their
I know.
homework is digital.
I know.
Everything's digital.
I know.
They don't even buy books anymore in some schools. It's all through iPads and stuff. And I know that can be frustrating. I can see your anger bubbling up.
Yeah.
But then, I think about, well, when I go to college, I did everything through my computer. I guess it's really not that much different, except they're doing it a lot younger than I am.
Right.
And I guess I don't see anything wrong with it. Again, parenting. That's the thing. I'm a parent, so I'm big on, raise your kids right. And it's not a problem.
Right.
I know what loot boxes are, so I'm going to raise my children right.
Right.
But not every parent does. That's why, I'm all about the awareness. I'm all about loot boxes are fine. Do I think they should be in children's games? Probably not. I mean, I don't think microtransactions should be in children's games because children don't have money.
Right.
But it's one of those things that, a lot of these games can't exist without a form of monetization because kids also don't have money to buy a game. So you can't just be like, hey, $40 on your phone to buy a game. Kids aren't going to do that.
Right.
They're just going to go grab that free-to-play game that has ads on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But ads don't always make enough money. So it's kind of like... Yeah. It's tough because you got to look at it from the game developer side. You got to look at it from a consumer side. You got to look at it from a parent side. I think what the senator proposes is pretty spot on. I mean, she says things like...
No, for sure.
That there are... that gambling and loot boxes, they're both expensive habits.
Yeah.
They have similar psychological principles.
Highly addictive.
And at minimum, the rating system should denote when loot boxes. And that's the minimum.
Yeah, at
they
the
need
very
to go
minimum.
above the minimum.
Yeah,
a lot of parents don't read the rating system.
Right.
I don't think it's that the rating system doesn't work. I think sometimes, store employees don't enforce it more.
Right.
When you see a parent walk up that doesn't... I don't want to stereotype people. If you see a soccer mom-looking person walk up with a game of Call of Duty, no kids with her, I mean... I know you don't want to insult her, but it's kind of one of those of hey, you buying this for a gift for someone? Yeah. It's kind of yeah, I'm getting it for my kids. Oh, that game's rated M.
Right.
For 17 plus. And they might not know any of that. They might not know anything. They just might know, my kids said they want this game.
And the thing is, too, is that maybe at the stores, they need to have more,
more vivid advertising.
Right.
That big M rating.
Right.
These are adult games. These are teenager games.
Right.
These are kids' games.
They need to maybe, instead of alphabetizing them, put them in by rating.
Yeah,
alphabetize them within the rating.
I agree with that forever. I've always agreed there should be a big sign that says, not just on the back of the box, a big ESRB sign that says these games are rated M for 17 plus due to violence, sex, or whatever
exactly.
else.
And then have a big sign, have a big sign above them with the rating on it, and then have a big sign that explains each rating.
Yeah.
And what constitutes the rating, why that game gets that rating.
So she's saying, at minimum it should be noted in the rating somewhere. I think she means like where do they say it's rated T for blah 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 blah, and then loot boxes being one of the reasons.
Right.
But again, that's like a bare minimum. I don't know how much that's going to help unless they do what we're suggesting. But even then, it's just a subscript. They still might not understand.
Right.
And then she also goes on to say that.
I mean, another thing is that you can actually have stores, put stickers on the cases, or have the game makers put stickers on the cases that denote.
Yeah. Well, and she also wants people to she wants to know, she wants them to conduct research into if loot boxes targeted to children, if that's even ethical.
Right.
And if they're being transparent about it. Especially to parents.
Right.
Because, like some kids might be playing the game, they can't read. They just know you hit this thing, open a box, and I get a thing.
Right.
That's why my daughter does some things. She can read a little bit, but she doesn't read everything in Mario Odyssey.
Right.
She just says, oh, this thing looks cool. What do I need? I hit it. Oh, I don't have enough of whatever. All right, let me go figure it out.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad that Mario Odyssey doesn't have microtransactions, let me tell you.
Right.
But yeah, and what's nice is that she does say she wants to know the best practices for developers. Basically she's saying I'm not discounting this revenue source. I'm not discounting the development cost. I'm just saying that we should re-examine if children should be a target audience for any of it.
Right.
And if we should reserve it for, older audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we want, say you want to put loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2, then it should just be an M-rated game.
Yep.
Or if not, what is it, teen 16 plus or something.
Yeah.
Throwing a mid-range rating between adult and teenager.
Right.
Where because in the United States you can have a job at 15, so maybe 15 plus or whatever. Instead of just teen, because there's because there's E and then there's E10 plus.
Yep.
So why can it be teen and then teen 15 plus?
Right.
If they want to put a tweener rating. But you know what I'm saying? Like they're basically calling on the ESRB to do exactly what I think needs to be done.
Right.
And I know it's weird because I don't want to defend loot boxes. I just think that.
Oh no, for sure. And
I think just like gambling, I don't think it's wrong to have it. I think it's wrong for my children to be subjected to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go a step further than her. I want it affecting phone games. I want it affecting any possible thing that is deemed a video game.
Yeah.
Because my children already play games that have loot boxes in it.
Yep.
They've already clicked on the buy button several times. No, it does not work because I'm an intelligent parent that turned off the ability to purchase things.
Right.
But it's kind of one of those things that but as soon as they, what if they work around and figure out, in some cases you can add it to your cell phone bill.
Yeah.
There's an upper limit on where it cuts you off, but I still would rather them not hit the upper limit.
Right.
That's for me, not for them.
Right.
And even then, I would never enable that on their phone. But what if they, I was on my phone and I fell asleep and I was still unlocked.
Yeah.
And they got a hold of it. These things can happen.
Right.
I speak as a parent. Some mornings I wake up, don't know where my phone is. My son's over there playing Angry Birds on it. I'm like, hey, how did you play Angry Birds? My phone should have been locked. He's like, I waited for you to fall asleep and I grabbed it.
Yeah.
You little smart.
Yeah.
Alec. Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
So it's, kids are what they are.
Well,
I did the same thing when I was a kid. Yeah, no, they're smarter than they look.
Oh.
But, I think loot boxes are, in general, okay to exist. There's other things we could talk about as well. Obviously, if a game has loot boxes, microtransactions, should it be a $60 game anyways?
Right.
Because it's kind of fundamentally supported with a completely different free-to-play.
Right.
Like I'm okay with loot boxes in Tap Sports Baseball to a point because it's free to play.
Right. Exactly.
I don't have to spend any money. I can just. In years past, I haven't spent any money.
Right.
And I still had a good time with the game.
Yes.
Next year I'm not going to spend nearly as much money as I did this year. But it's kind of one of those things you learn things along the way, and I learned from, where I probably should have spent money, where I shouldn't have spent money to increase my value as a consumer.
Right.
Because I don't think it's wrong to spend money.
Right.
On loot boxes and microtransactions. But
especially if you enjoy the game and
just
you want to support them.
Kids shouldn't be, and you can afford it, obviously.
Right.
But kids should not be subjected. Kids can't afford anything.
Right.
They really can't. Unless they could be completely spoiled. Maybe they have more money than you do in their bank or whatever. But let's be honest. If they actually had to pay bills, there's no money there. You're like, they have more money than me. Oh, my child has $500 in the bank, and I live paycheck to paycheck. And we'll tell that kid they got to pay rent that month.
Yeah.
They ain't going to have any money.
Yeah.
So it's you got to remember that, just because they might have more money than you in a moment, they don't really have money.
Yeah.
And it's good to try to teach kids at a young age about fiscal responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Didn't stick with me. But I'm doing all right. So, all right. You got anything else you want to add on this topic?
No, I think we actually hit it.
All right, cool. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 53. I don't know how I made through this without coughing. I've wanted to cough several times.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, water. It's not really helping much. You can check us out. We actually live stream this every Thursday night when we record it. Our episode doesn't go up publicly until Monday. You can get the audio version early at patreon.com/Nintendo Prime for $5 on Sundays. If you want to watch the live stream version of this as we're doing it, that goes up while we're doing it on Thursdays for $10 and up. You want to be on a podcast, it's $20 and up. Basically, our Patreon's really built around this podcast. Come support if you like what we do. We are trying to get to our $300 stretch goal, which means we will do a game review for next month. I don't know what game it's going to be. So some people are like, oh, which game is it going to be? I'm like, I don't know, maybe Kirby? I don't know. Yeah. Haven't really decided. I don't really think about these things until we actually hit the stretch goal.
Yeah.
Because, otherwise I'm just taking time out of my life planning something that's never going to happen.
Right.
So support us if you want to support us. Don't if you don't. It's all good. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow on Twitter at Nate Jantz or at Ninty Prime.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. I still don't have a Twitter account.
All right, folks. You know what? I have to do this.
What? All right.
Oh, by the way, we have a brand new merch store as well.
Sweet.
That'll be linked in the description. It has Nintendo Prime. Actually says Nintendo Prime in the merch. We didn't get in trouble. Yay.
Whoa.
And we have hats. I'm gonna be buying one soon, and then it's gonna be awesome. And you're gonna see me do a dance.
And brooches and pterodactyls.
No,
no. Sorry.
All right, folks. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay tuned because this is where Prime things happen.